Notice was published on December 13th, 2018 in the local Source, which is the official newspaper of the Township of Springfield for 2019, and posted in the annex on December 14th, 2018. Let's do a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Perfect. Can we do a quick roll call?
Committeeman Rich Huber is absent. Mr. David Barnett.
Here.
Mr. Andrew Schwartz is absent. Mr. Jerry Fernandez.
Here.
Ms. Sylviane Grabowski.
Here.
Ms. Carolyn Singer is absent.
I'll be here.
Okay, she's tardy. Mr. Scott Wishna.
Here.
Ms. Marissa Ruggiero is absent. Mr. Brian Brandel.
Here.
Vice Chair Sharon Kessel.
Here.
And Chairman Jeff Kiger.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, everyone had a chance to review the May 2019 minutes. Anyone have any questions or concerns? Jen posted them on the Google Drive. Seeing none, can I entertain a motion to approve the May 2019 minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 2019.
Second.
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nope. Okay.
Abstain.
Abstain?
I wasn't here, I don't think.
There you go.
You were here, weren't you?
No.
No? Okay, you weren't here. Abstain. Good. Motion, I'm sure
I
watching the
just
video.
felt I was here, though.
Okay, the resolution for application 3-2019S for Car Realty will be moved to the July 8th meeting. I do know that Mr. Disco will give a quick update on it a little later, but they did come in compliance with a lot of the TCOs or the tenant things, so which was good, which was one of the focus of the board. We have an application tonight, a brief application on application 5-2019S, United Windows and Doors, 24-36 Fathom Road, block 4201, lot 5, for preliminary and final site plan to expand the loading dock. Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Joshua Kudre, appearing from the Hale offices of Davern Von Wergath in Union, New Jersey, on behalf of the applicant, United Window and Door Manufacturing, Inc. As the chairman said correctly, we do have an application for you this evening that is relatively straightforward. The existing building that's located at 24-36 Fathom Road is occupied by United Window and Door Manufacturing. They utilize this facility for the manufacture of windows and doors, warehousing and distribution as well. The property is located in the I-40 zone, and those current uses are permitted, and they will not be changed by this application. The expansion that they're proposing is modest in nature. What they're looking to do is expand the loading area, which is located on Diamond Road, by installing 4 new bay doors. Some minor changes associated with that. The relocation of a man door, and our engineer will get into that and go over the elevations in more detail. There are no variances requested or created as a result of the application. And really, that's all I have as far as preliminary
Council,
comments.
let's get your engineer up. That's all we need. It's a permitted use. There's no variances. Did you have a chance to review?
Wait, let's hold up for 1 second, just so that way Carolyn's eligible to vote. You didn't say anything useful.
No,
Good.
definitely not.
Okay.
It doesn't count when an attorney talks anyway.
Oh, so that's why you
We all know.
don't have to pay you?
We all know that. No, we
Why do I
didn't
have to
get
pay
paid
every
to be.
time my attorney talks?
All right, so
Now let's bring your engineer up.
bring your engineer up. Council, did you receive a copy of reports first by Phillips Price, dated May 29th?
Yes. And no issues complying with the recommendations
That was Keenan's report.
Either letter.
And then
or Mr. Disco's letter.
Mr. Disco's letter, which was dated May 24th, 2019.
Yes.
Engineer, come on. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in proceedings before the board, so help you God?
I do.
What is your name, sir?
Michael Rowe,
Mike, you got to talk a little louder, okay? Spell your last name, Mike.
R-O-W-E.
You a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey?
I am.
Have you ever appeared before this board before?
No.
Where were you educated?
Rutgers University, and all the cultural directors for 3 degrees.
And you have a degree in civil engineering?
I did.
And you regularly prepare?
Actually, I have a degree not in civil engineering, mechanical, and electrical. I have PE.
But you're a licensed PE?
I am a licensed.
And you regularly prepare plans and appear before boards?
I do.
Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Go ahead for a brief overview.
You heard everything. Let's try it this way. I have instructions, so I'm trying to adhere to my chair. You heard everything that the attorney said in relationship. Do you have any disagreements with it? Okay, you don't have to repeat anything he said, but tell us.
If you want to begin.
Well, so what we tried to do was, the biggest challenge for this was to make sure that we didn't add any more water, the storm water, to the existing retention pond. We wanted to make sure that we covered completely all of the water goes back in and infiltrates in the ground underneath the area that we're working. The existing ramp that goes to the man door and one of the roll-up doors is a ramp that goes up. That's concrete by nature. That's going to have to be ripped out in order to get to match the existing loading docks that are there. So 2 of the doors would go in that location. If I need to, I can go and if you want to hold up the elevations, if that would help.
Yeah, let's hold up the elevations.
Are these one of the drawings that were previously submitted as part of the packet, or is this a new exhibit?
They are the same with the exception that we added a couple of modifications
A1.
for the lights.
This is A1.
I'm sorry. This is before.
Counsel, you can mark it.
Okay.
You can mark the side you're holding. A1, and just identify it, Mr. Rowe.
A1,
It's drawing before.
B4, and what does it depict?
What this is showing is the before and after elevation, the view from Diamond Road of the building itself.
Loading.
Right.
And how is it different from the set that's on file?
We took some comments, in particular the lighting and over the man door to give access. So we wanted to show 2 things. One of them was the light it's very similar to the light that was there, but what we wanted to do was to make sure that someone driving down the road didn't get light in their eyes. And so what we got is we just showed the angle that the light goes down to make sure that it doesn't go off site.
And that was in response to Mr., I think it was in both reports. But certainly
Yes, both
Mr. Disco.
reports.
Okay, thank you.
We had to put a retaining wall between the at-grade loading dock, which is the dock that's closest to Faden Road. And that's only because, obviously, one set of doors is at grade, and the other set of doors is down the loading dock in a low level. So we're basically just matching the existing view that's on the door. We're extending one towards Faden Road, putting an at-grade roll-up door, and then the man door. And then inside the building, the office that's basically the reception and where someone would come up to do deliveries. That office was where these 2 doors are that we're getting rid of the ramp and putting on this side. So we're just moving that office inside the building into this corner just so that they can come in, park, drop off what they have to drop off. And that's really the entire job is
Yeah, I think that's good. So the only question that I had, and then I want to turn it over to Mr. Disco and the board, what I'd like to ask is, on the plan somewhere there was something that talked about future parking, and if you started making that future parking, you would increase the impervious coverage. So part of this would be, assuming Mr. Disco will cover this, that if you expand, you would need variance to
Yes,
do that.
the reason that I showed that on the drawing was because I wanted to make sure that the water retention that we put in was for that project. If in the future it needed to be there with extra capacity in the stormwater. So I knew when he was reviewing the plans, that amount of water would have seemed excessive to him. So I wanted them to know that we would probably go for a variance, but if we went for that variance now, this project couldn't happen before they needed it. And so we said we can live with the parking now. It's going to be a little inconvenient not having that there in case someone shows up.
Don't talk about it if you're not
good. Mr. Disco, any concerns?
No, the stormwater is over-designed for this current application.
Okay, and you're satisfied, and meeting all the conditions of your letter was
Yes.
resolves it?
Yes.
And the lighting and everything being on? Mr. Hughes?
The only thing I would add is we did some of the aerials. It appears that there was some storage activity occurring outdoors. Could you just testify to what's happening from an operational perspective?
The engineer could definitely speak to that, but we have the president of the company.
Are you going to remove this outdoor storage? Because you never received.
The outdoor storage area is actually the recycling for the facility. It's where they have to store their materials. There is a gate that you can't see in that aerial. It actually screens off from the street, and I believe that there's a photo of that we walk. But that's basically where
A2.
they need that.
Qualify this, or-
Let Mike look at it. sure that he views it, that it's from the site, because he was there.
I have extra copies on the board.
Yeah, I'd like you to pass it around to the board. Mike, does that look like where you've been?
Yeah.
Good.
So do they need relief for that? It's just part of, it's like a garbage or
Right, I
recycling.
would say
area, right?
it's really just the same thing as a trash enclosure. And I think the intent of the ordinance with respect to outdoor storage is other, machinery, equipment, other things being stored outside. So I think it's
So you view it as not that, you view it as, if it's garbage, it's garbage.
correct, and it's adequately enclosed.
So there's no additional screening that's needed, you think it's good?
I think it's adequate, and a variance wouldn't be needed for the outdoor storage.
Okay. Anything further?
I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Barnett?
No, pretty straightforward.
Mr. Brindell? Mr. Wishman?
The only question I have, just from a traffic, the turning radius, so I guess you're loading tractor trailer type vehicles, right? Now, by adding the 2 loading docks to where it's currently a grassy area, trucks needing to back into that space, is there any issue with curb cuts on the neighborhood property or anything else that we need to be aware of? I don't know that I got that through.
It's like the Mark 1, Mark 2.
A3.
In response to the site triangles, we actually showed what those trucks would be and what they would look like and the view as to what was required. And you can actually see what we did is we actually, even though this door would never be used for a full truck, even with a full truck there, it could back in and still maintain turning radiuses. It still doesn't block the site. So
We'll have our, Mr. Disco review that.
That was comment 5 in my
Okay.
memo. I didn't think there would be any violation. The only thing I was wanting to know is if the trucks can remain there overnight, or is that just inactive?
Are the
Will there be
trucks,
trucks in that bay overnight?
we do not believe that there are going to be trucks in that bay overnight. I was putting that there just to,
Yep.
that's really the rating.
okay. So,
Nope.
nope. Sharon?
Nope. No.
Karen, Jerry? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to take this opportunity to open it up to the public to see if the public has any questions and concerns on this application. Any members of the public wish to come up and speak on application 5-2019S? Seeing none, we'll close this matter to the public and we'll open it up to the board to kind of have any questions. I think that in the conditions is they agree to all the both letters by our professionals, that if they do plan to install any additional parking, that they make application before our engineer to determine if they do need to come back for a variance or not, and so forth. Is that fair?
Yeah, they're at 71.7%, 72 permitted.
They're gonna have-
Almost anything they do going forward.
Forward would do. All right, well, they'll have to, anyone that comes in, they'll have to submit to you. You can decide where it goes. Can I entertain a motion?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve application 5-2019-S for block 4201, lot 5, for a preliminary and final site plan for expansion of loading area.
Second.
Have a roll call?
Ms. Grzebowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wishna?
Yes.
Mr. Barnett?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Brendel?
Yes.
Vice Chair Kessel?
Yes.
Chairman Tyler?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Are you guys planning on starting quickly? Is that anyone opposed to having them waive reading so they can start on their own? No? Okay. Go ahead. We work with Mr. Disco on the process. Okay. Thank you. So the last thing, Mike, our engineer, every 6 months gives an update on what the projects are. 5 minutes or less, Mike's going to kind of give us an update on the Gomes project, Wawa, some of the redevelopment. That way we can kind of get an idea and ask questions.
These are in no particular order. I just started, Car Realty, I offered a memo about all the change of tenancies, so they're up to snuff on that. One tenant is leaving. That was the one problematic with the parking of the vehicles. We'll certainly go through that on a monthly basis. Also spoke to their engineer regarding the DEP. That became a little bit more complicated than they thought, as I suspected, so That's in the works, but it's not going to be a 15-day notification. We had the dental office on Mountain Avenue, RDH. We had a pre-construction meeting on that project in March. Resolution compliant, so that's moving forward. If you remember, next to Jonathan Dayton High School, there's a dental, I forget the partners' names.
Dr. Lee and Dr.
SPD sale, that's the Charlie Larkin redevelopment on Church Mall. Demo work began on March 17th and 18th. They knocked the building down, took that away. Pre-construction meeting, May 8th. Tank work began on May 6th through the building department, and that's essentially been completed, and they're waiting on some environmental clearance. Everybody, according to the building department, is very pleased with what they found environmentally. It was much less than was expected based upon the history of the site. So they're anticipating about 3 weeks to get a clearance on that environmentally. They've submitted architectural and site plans. Site plans have been deemed complete in terms of compliance with the board.
We signed it.
Yep, signed it. The architecturals were submitted on Monday of this week. Zoning officer and I have both looked at it. One bedroom into a 2-bedroom. I hope that was an accident, but that actually triggers a half a space in parking, which would put them over. So that's going to get corrected.
Yeah.
One grill changed. Other than that, it looked pretty straightforward.
Good, we want that to get started as
Yeah.
quick as possible.
So I'm sure they didn't get that back officially yet, but we looked at that today. Wawa demo is ongoing as we speak. I was there this morning. 2 homes remained from the bulk of the property that were there. They may even started doing that today. Pre-construction meeting was held April 17th. They did find some minor residential type tanks under some of those houses there. Again, they're looking at about 3-week clearance on getting the environmental clearances on that. They don't think there's any contamination or spill for that. Site plans were signed, they're in compliance. So they're basically, their target on the pre-con meeting was to start the site work in June. Traffic signal is going to be about August, September, and then a 6-month site work time, splitting off into the building time. So there'll be a distinct site plan period. Then another crew will come in, a Wawa crew will come in and do the building. They don't really farm these things out. Gomes, which is the downtown, and Keenan certainly jump in at any point here. We have no building department submissions to permit demo as of this point. There's asbestos issues, minor in terms of what the asbestos is, but in paperwork reporting going through the state. So there's no way the building department is in a position to issue any demo permits. Even when they get that stuff in, it's a minimum of 10 days away. So I can tell you affirmatively at this point, you're at least 11 days away from seeing a demo if they submit tomorrow, which we doubt. There's a conference call actually scheduled tomorrow with Matt Jessup on this project. We met on April 23rd and May 23rd. What will be happening, we believe, is that the building will be pushed away from Morris Avenue when they come back to this board. Architectural and site plan drawings were being revised to accommodate that. There is a minor, encroachment in the rear yard because of that, which was a condition of approval, so they're going to have to seek some amended preliminary approval perhaps. And then final. What is a real difficulty at the site is the location of the existing power lines. There is no agreement in place by the power company at this point and the developer to relocate or remove these power lines for demo and then construction. The bump outs that were originally planned on Morris Avenue are problematic. They're problematic because the bump out near Caldwell impacts ADA and the pedestrian crossing. That then triggers a full signal design because the signal is essentially outdated. It is essentially on a NJDOT list to be replaced, but that could be 7 to 15 years away.
And that's the one with the Chinese restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah, that signals forever, but yeah.
Yes, so I don't think there's a remedy on that. Again, the developer could pay for the signal, just like Wawa did. Now, that may be a 1.5-year process, I don't know, but that's an option. The developer, at this point, has not committed to that. That's the best I can offer.
Has he been approached on that, do you know? Has that been
The
meant to?
developer is well aware of all the DOT options,
Okay.
including a shared cost option with the DOT.
What about the parking issues there? Was that addressed already? I know there had been some discussion about across the street by the Chinese restaurant. Has that ever been finalized?
What I can speak to is that in the original approval and the resolution, there was a provision in the Duffy's Corner lot for parking spaces. I don't remember the exact number, but it was a significant
I
number.
thought there had been some discussion also about the DMV.
That's correct.
Parking lot, and how that, how many spots.
That's more at the council level. I believe that there is an anticipation that those off-site parking spaces would be transferred to the DMV lot in lieu of the Duffy's Corner lot.
Okay.
I don't know. There's also, again, there's a contemplation that Center Street would become one-way. There'd be angled parking on Center Street. One of the things we looked at was the bump out at Center and Morris would actually protect that angled parking and facilitate maybe the one-way design. And we can't really at this point say that that's going to be there for certainty. That impacts DOT and the like.
Part of the delay was the power lines being moved, if I wasn't mistaken. So now is there still discussion? There's nothing clear on what's going to happen to them. So do they have to move, or they can stay there, or?
They have to move. And
They have to.
They have to move because not only, there's an issue with how do they get the building down.
Right.
There's OSHA
There's all-
requirements which
right.
get into a 10-foot spacing. They approach within that. If you can get past that and how you demo the building without encroaching on that 10-foot limitation, then there's JCP&L is basically has their own limitation, which is let's just say they're distrustful that a demolition that close to the power lines could be done in a way that would protect their facilities.
Isn't one of the developers in that project, that's what they do, don't they put lines underground? Isn't that, I think, one of their, I don't know if you knew, or.
There is, anecdotally, I was told it was $1 million to put them underground. I don't know if that's accurate.
Flooding issues there.
And it's floods.
And again, that's a significant cost. The way our resolution is worded, and again, if I'm just speaking, it was a best attempt to relocate the utility issues. So, you have to gauge what a best attempt is. But it wasn't a finality that there was going to be a certain vision based upon the resolution. The power company did get some money from Gomes. That money's been exhausted. They've requested additional money. They have not gotten it. So it's one of the things.
Money for what?
For their interaction to design the pole relocations and the redesign of utilities in that area.
So Mike, will you get I know you guys are meeting tomorrow and
Yep.
whatever. When we come back, it seems like it's a hot topic with the board. So maybe on July 8th, when we get back together, we could do 5 minutes on that
We
application.
certainly can update the board. And one of the other things was, there was discussion about mid-block bump outs to accommodate a pole relocation. We confirmed this week from DOT that DOT would never allow a bump out into what the current pathway is for a telephone pole. They would deem that a safety issue, and that's off the table.
Is there any discussion, if this does take much longer than they expect, what they're gonna do with that wall? I mean, I don't know if it's worse now with the wall or with the building. If this is gonna take another 6 months or 8 months or something to that effect.
Agreement in place with the
Paint
power
the
company,
wall,
it's gonna
or-
take that long.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
and I
that.
think it looks worse.
The wall is a bone of contention, whatever.
I know the business administrator it's with him to figure that out
Mr.
with.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So we've had several conversations.
Speak of the mic, because I can't even.
We've had a lot of conversations with the bid about putting up some overlays on the wall, like you often see about, with the representation of what's going to be built there and some other township stuff. Mike Scalera probably wants to put his face on there as well as an ad. But there has been some conversation with the property owner and with the bid to make that wall look a lot more attractive. I know the bigger issue is really the wall, the fact that they took up the sidewalk on Center Street. is a bit of an issue. So obviously, we'd like to get this thing moved
for the
along as
business
fast as possible, but there are conversations about doing some stuff. And also similar to what Ken Gruskin did on the windows of that building as well.
Is there like a time limit you're giving them, Dave, like for the Center Street? Like if it's not done in a certain amount of time, that maybe it has to be removed, or we're not there
In
yet?
terms of taking down the wall or making it look
Yeah,
nice?
on Center, you brought up a great point. You're right. The bigger part is taking the sidewalk out of Center Street
Yeah.
there for school and everything else that's around there.
All I know is that when I talked to,
Is there a deadline on, hey, look,
Well,
we're going to give them a
the-
couple months, if not, this is going to take that much longer,
Well, the thing is, the wall would be up during the entire construction process, right? Because it has to be, so.
Not just the
So you-
demolition, so not
right,
just the demolition. during
Right,
the whole
right, that's to
construction.
protect the site per our ordinance of fencing in, our construction site. So that wall will be there to the, for the duration. Whether we have, after demo or during construction, whether we have some ability to have them move it back or something, so we can get the
All right, I thought it was
sidewalk
just-
back is
I thought it
something
was just for demo.
that our engineer and all have to take a look at.
I think one of the reasons you got a solid wall there is because of the location of the building in relation to the sidewalk and the curb and the street. They wanted something solid, so when the walls came down, debris wouldn't go through a chain link fence or mechanism.
No, I understand. It just seems like
Right.
now, that was supposed to be started, and I'm not.
I've read the papers, it was supposed to start back in March.
Yeah.
We had a meeting on April 23rd, and within
Yeah.
7 to 10 days, it was supposed to be at the building department.
And just with this
We had another
developer's
meeting on
history.
May 23rd, within 7 to 10 days at the building. Hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Again, we're having a conference call tomorrow with the redevelopment attorney and the municipal attorney. And we're going to see what steps to go, from there.
Probably shouldn't say this on the record, but Saks will probably be built first.
What about, I know their funding with the escrow they had was, they up the par on that, Dave?
I don't know.
They brought $20,000 or $25,000 in recently.
Sounds like
Just actually real quick, so on the parking issue, we had countless hours of conversation 3, 4, 5 years ago, however long it was, when we first started talking about this project about the parking. And, at the time, we got comfortable with what this board preliminarily approved. If the township committee is going to override that to go to parking lot 1, that's one thing, but we were at the time very specific about them not using parking lot 1 and
Which one's parking lot one again?
the one in front of DMV, the main one.
The DMV?
Yeah, the DMV parking lot.
I know that they ran into a problem with the underground parking. They assumed that they were going to be able to use, but because of flooding, they lost parking there.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think that's where the conversation then started again, where they needed additional parking. Because what they planned on underground, they couldn't do as much.
That's going to lead to, that lot is full all day as it is. It's going to lead to a huge congestion problem. And I don't necessarily buy the argument of, oh, well, during the day, everyone in the building's gone out to work, so the parking lot will be empty.
I think the applicant's going to
So
be
we're
back
going to
anyway,
have
so
to,
we'll
right,
have
we're
an
going to have to
opportunity.
deal with that.
The applicant's certainly coming back. Again, they led us to believe it would be this summer. I don't know if we can rely on that. Again, they did revise some plans, but the revised plans we saw May 23rd between the architect and the site engineer didn't even necessarily jive.
You got municipal parking lot, where the, one of our buildings, where the DPW is, maybe they have some parking maybe around there, because there'd been discussion in the past too about moving that building. But
So this could be another 20-year project.
Yeah, this could be a while.
All right, well, I just wanted Mike to give us a brief overview.
And we've got Saks, and maybe Keenan will talk on Saks more than I will.
I think Saks we're trying to get them the end of July. We're trying to meet, subcommittees trying to meet with them the end of June. Hopefully we'll have plans by
The
middle
redevelopment plan was approved.
by the governing body, so it's just working through the process. Hopefully we have meetings set on the dates, and hopefully we can get there. All right, well, thanks, Mike. Board, any more questions for Mike?
Jeff is like, no more questions.
Too long, sorry.
Good stuff. It's too long. All right, well, have a
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Good. All in favor, aye. Good, thanks. You didn't really have to sit through that.
Past the 5 minutes.
No.